You're tuned into Tackle Fanatics TV, and in this episode, ESP's Dave Ellyatt takes a look at their Chod leaders and sleeves.
Today we're filming at a frozen lake. Winter's finally taken hold and the ice is probably still a couple of inches thick, even though it is starting to warm up and thaw a little bit. Obviously I'm not fishing, but if I was, I would almost inevitably be using the Chod Rig. Now, although it's been around for a good few years, the Chod Rig is still as popular as ever and as effective as ever. It still tears waters apart, and I know anglers who use it almost exclusively to anything else, especially for big fish. Now, a while ago, we bought out the ESP ready-tied Chod Rigs using the stiff rigger hooks and the bristle filament, and they were the first properly tied Chod Rigs available on the market, tied with a snell knot, the Japanese Unilink swivel, which is very free spinning. So they really did sort of demystify the Chod Rig and make quality rigs available off the shelf. Now, to go with the Chod Rigs, we also bought out the Super Floss, which is the best material for tying on a pop-up hook bait. But to complete the set, we've now just bought out ready tied Chod Rig lead core leaders. Now, where they can, most anglers prefer to use the Chod Rig with lead core. It's how it was originally intended, and these leaders have been constructed purely with Chod Rigs in mind. They're available in 1 metre and 1.5 metre lengths in the original camo, weedy green and choddy silk colours, with 3 leaders per pack. So now I'll show you how the leaders are constructed. Basically, everything's assembled to the lead core leader in the first place, so all you need to do is add a lead to the clip link and a Chod Rig hook link. Now, the lead is simply clipped on to the clip link, which is housed under the rubber sleeve, so you can change the size of your lead in seconds, no problem. And the sleeve just goes over the clip, so you've got a nice streamlined finish there. And then attached to the rubber sleeve is a short 2-inch section of silicone tube. Now, we could have moulded this entire component in the slightly tougher rubber material, but it wouldn't have been as flexible, so it wouldn't have acted as quite such a good shock absorbing buffer. But that's how it works. It acts as a buffer and also to keep the hook away from the lead. Above the silicone tube, you've got an interference fit rubber bead that can be adjusted, so if you're using a longer hook link, you can move the bead up so that the hook can't come into contact with the lead. So I'll just show you how it works. As you can see, the sleeve is stopping the hook from coming into contact with the lead, and playing a fish on a very short hook link with very little stretch in it, you're always running the risk of a hook pull. So this silicone tube acts as a shock absorber, so when it's under pressure it sort of concertinas down a little bit, almost acting like a spring, and this helps to prevent hook pulls. So that's the 2 main purposes of that sleeve. Now, moving up the leader, typically about 2 or 3 feet is the top bead. Now, when you cast out, the buoyant hook bait causes the Chod Rig to rest up against this bead, so it settles down gently over any weed or soft silt. This bead is just housed on a short section of silicone tube, so in the event of a crack off, and if the fish gets tethered up in weed or anything like that, this bead come off the silicone tube and pass over the leader knot, meaning that the fish can rid itself of the lead core leader. So all you do when you're putting the hook link onto the lead core leader is just remove this top bead, slide the Chod Rig down, and then replace the top bead. And then all that leaves you to do is tie the leaders to the main line. There's a little splice loop there at the top end. Just tie it to the main line with either a 5-turn grinner, which I prefer, or a loop-to-loop. So that's the ready tied Chod leaders, but if you prefer to tie your own, the Chod Rig sleeves are also available separately in all 3 colours, and you get 6 sleeves to a pack. Now, if you're using a very short hook link, you can trim down the silicone tube section, or if you're not using a clip link and tying the lead directly to the lead core, you can trim down the rubber sleeve so it's long enough just to fit over the brass loop on the lead. Now, these are very easy to thread onto the lead core. you can use either a splicing needle or a stringer needle. If you're using a splicing needle, you can just concertina the silicone tube down so that the end of the needle is exposed, and then just thread it onto the lead core. It's quite a simple operation. So there you have it, the Chod Rig, one of the most successful big carp rigs of modern times. I think I'm going to come back in a couple of weeks when this lot's thawed out, but right now I think it's time to get the kettle on.
You've been tuned in to Tackle Fanatics TV, and thanks for watching. Tackle Fanatics stock a vast array of end tackle from all the leading manufacturers. We're also a full ESP stockist and offer their complete range at the best prices in the UK. If you've seen a price somewhere better, call us on 0208 949 3307. Remember, Tackle Fanatics also offer finance to make your tackle purchase more affordable. Tight lines and wet nets from everybody at TFTV.